Let's put a spotlight on the performances, because there are some incredible ones this year. And so let's go to supporting actress first of all. Naomie Harris, I think, really pulled out of the bag in Moonlight, and everyone is talking about her.
You know, it's a par excellence supporting performance. It kind of lends itself over the course of this kind of 3-chapter movie, and she kind of starts as one person, grows into another character, and then sort of comes out the other side. And it's a performance she did in 3 days, you know, sort of fitted it in between Moneypenny. And the contrast between the two is so extraordinary. She sort of said that she would never play a crack addict.
Yes.
Because back in the day, that was sort of where black women were cast. But actually, this is a motherly crack addict. This is everything in this performance that requires her to be both maternal, uncaring, selfish, extraordinary. There's one scene that lives long in my memory, and this is what a supporting performance does, that she just kind of charges out and kind of yells at Chiron to kind of give her some money, and it just is a whirlwind. And I've never seen Naomie do that before, and I think that's what you want from a supporting performance, which is why I think she's the hot favourite for me in this. And it also kind of really influences the way the film plays out and the way that the Chiron character plays out.
That's it. There's a huge amount of rawness and brutality to the performance as a whole, and particularly the scene that Jason's just mentioned. I mean, it does jump out at you, but it enriches the whole film. Suddenly you understand the main character so much better, and then you understand the whole mood and trajectory of the film. It's through that performance. So it's not like she's doing anything but stealing the scene and stealing the movie. She's actually contributing. Sometimes with these very kind of eye-catching supporting performances, through no fault of the actor, they kind of end up overshadowing the rest of the film. And actually, it's very much the opposite with Naomie Harris. And the thing about Moonlight in general is it is an ensemble piece with the actors. There's no star of Moonlight, but Naomie Harris is very much. I mean, she's this vital cog. You know.
And I suppose going from one mother to another in Manchester by the Sea, in actually a scene-stealing performance by Michelle Williams, who has one iconic scene, one where we were all watching it thinking, that's the awards bit.
Actually, she does do good work throughout the rest of the film, and again, you kind of come to understand Casey Affleck's character, who is very withdrawn and very mumbly. And when you have these flashbacks to their married life, you see him through her, and that's literally the definition of supporting actor or actress, surely, which is that actually you are supporting the main character and supporting our understanding of who this person really is. She does that beautifully, and then it's rather weird because then you have this huge splashy scene, which she plays immaculately. But it overshadows the rest of the film, and it almost ends up overshadowing the rest of her performance.
Right, yeah, you're absolutely right, because that is the moment we remember, but actually we see her at home with Casey Affleck in flashbacks.
And there's a lovely scene sort of early on where she's sort of got a cold, or she's in bed and she's kind of got the kids sleeping around, and there's a kind of mess, and it's really beautifully played.
It is really interesting, actually, that a lot of, in fact, all of the roles in the supporting actress category are mothers, and it is all about the relationship between mother and child.
There's a lot of
whether
male
it's on screen
out there, you know.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating because, you know, as far as being stereotyped goes.
And you're right, and it's an interesting, and on the face of it, you know, slightly glum conclusion when you think, actually, so we've got 5 mothers here, you know, and is that all that we can find for our greatest actresses to do? But they're different facets of being a mother, and actually the characters themselves are actually all very distinct. I mean, when you look through the list, you realise that, yes, the one thing that these women have in common is that they have kids, and the film is to an extent about their relationship with their kids, but actually in lots of other ways these are very, very different characters.
Hayley Squires, who we've talked about in terms of I, Daniel Blake, that sort of is her role. She's mother to these 2 children, but it's sort of the sacrifices that she makes as a mother to hold this family together, to kind of educate her kids, to keep them warm, and to kind of seek the affirmation of Dave Johns' character, to kind of find a family, to find a home for their children. There's a sort of animalistic quality to Hayley Squires' performance.
I think it's also worth mentioning that a lot of these characters come from working class backgrounds. Hayley Squires obviously being at the forefront, and she's criticised the fact that there are not many roles, but obviously maybe something is shifting a little bit at the moment.
You would hope so, and you would hope that I, Daniel Blake will actually encourage that shift. I mean, that could be part of the film's legacy and Hayley Squires' legacy. Clearly, class is something which still overshadows Britain in so many ways, and you can see that on screen. What you can see here is her playing a working class character, of course, and doing brilliantly, but you can also see just a great talented actress, you know.
Viola Davis won a Tony for her performance in Fences on Broadway in 2010 and has now been nominated in supporting actress category for the same role in the film version. She's an incredibly scene-stealing actress, actually, always has been, always will be, and does the same in Fences.
Yes, we say scene stealing as if she's kind of, you know,
As if it's a
dressed
bad
up like a burglar and kind of nicked it. I think that she's just very good.
She's fabulous,
and
is
has
what I
not been
mean.
afforded enough of the opportunities. Give her a camera, she's going to shine. I mean,
Yeah.
she did it in Doubt. You've had to make your mark where you can, just because of the lack of opportunity. So, you know, she's building up to kind of having these lead roles. In a sense, Fences is very much sort of a visual record of that performance that she did with Denzel. I think it was over 100 performances on Broadway, but very few people would have got to see it. So now we can. And she does, I think, create a completely different beast. And it's interesting that she's a supporting role in this because, frankly, she's not. I mean, she's as dominant as Denzel in this.
But
She's
Denzel
brilliant.
hasn't been nominated,
Well,
interestingly.
interesting enough, and I thought he was pretty good in it myself as well. But he directed as well, so he probably took a little bit of himself out of Fences to kind of maybe concentrate on Viola and was able to shine a little bit more on her. He's quite unselfish. I'm not sure that amidst this wonderful array of Naomie Harris, Hayley, Squires, Michelle Williams, that Viola Davis's sort of almost stagey, quite histrionic performance in a good way is what the voters will go for. That's my feeling. I mean, I love it. It's very Viola Davis. That's what she does very well. The others, to me, are surprises.
Rightly so. People have such a huge amount of respect and reverence for Viola Davis and for what she's accomplished and is clearly still accomplishing in her career, that people want to give her something. So actually the performance itself kind of becomes almost an afterthought, and actually you're giving an award to the person. I mean, if you're going to do that to anyone, make it Viola Davis.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, the performance is maybe almost to the side of the issue.
It is obviously a very strong category, and one person who has just kind of snuck in there and we haven't talked about yet is Nicole Kidman for her performance as Sue Braley in Lion.
I find these things interesting when a big Oscar winner struggles to then sort of find another sort of second act really to the Oscar, and then they kind of, you know, they're in sort of big overblown, you know, biopics that kind of get you know, derided. To see her kind of rebooting herself and kind of saying, actually, I'm going to kind of wipe the canvas clean with a little supporting performance. I think it's what agents and actors kind of strive to do occasionally. I think it's very well placed for her.
And also,
to see her in this category is refreshing, I think.
Yes, and a passion project for her, of course, because she has 2 adopted children herself.
Absolutely
and so it feels like that, you know, that is partly the reason that she's done this.
The character of Sue is very self-effacing. You know, she's a woman who gives over her life to kind of bringing up these adopted children, and it's a self-effacing performance in a way. I mean, Nicole Kidman is clearly, you know, she wields this huge presence, so she can't appear on screen without suddenly you being very aware. Your eye is immediately drawn to Nicole Kidman. There's an echo really between this maternal role that she's playing and also the way I think that she actually gives over the screen and kind of lets the other actors, Dev Patel in particular. Kind of Dev Patel is great, but Dev Patel is also allowed to be great by what Nicole Kidman's doing. So again, we come back to that idea of technically what is a supporting performance, and that's kind of what Nicole Kidman's doing. It's a small role, but she's great in it. When you talk to actors, they will talk a lot about sharing scenes with their colleagues and who allows the light to be shone on them. And actually, so working together is something they clearly think a lot about. And actually, when you see these 5 nominees, I think what's interesting about all of them is that they're all actors who allow someone else to also take the screen and take our attention, you know, and that's the very definition of supporting.
Very quickly then, who is your pick?
I'm going to go with Naomie Harris.
Naomie Harris?
I would go for Naomie Harris
Naomie
too.
Harris as well?
Yeah.
But I feel bad for Hayley Squires.
We will be finding out all the winners on February the 12th, so please join us then.